What's up guys, it's Charles here with RocketPunchArmy to do a review of the GX-59 Mirai Robo Daltanius. I'm doing this as a request from Jetfire48 on my YouTube channel. I did previously review this figure for Collection DX. However, I don't have a review on my own channel, and now that it's been a couple of years, maybe even more since I reviewed that, I think it'd be a good chance for me to catch up and have this on my own channel. This could easily turn into a 45-minute long review. We obviously don't want that, so we're just going to take care of the important bits and just show you real quickly all the other little bits of this figure. So we've been looking at the box the whole time. Here's the back. On the top left here we have Atlas with his hand slicer and weapons, and we also have the little Delfighter which docks into his head. We move down, we have Beralios here, which is my favorite of the set because it does remind me a little bit of Voltron. You guys know the background of Daltanius or Voltron. And his little weapon set right up in the back there. And we move down, last but not least, we have Gumper. And as you can see here, which the original Godaiken did not do, is dock Atlas right on the bottom of Gumper. Of course, he does have his little power arms in the back. Now, I never watched the Daltanius anime, but it was my first Godaiken, which is why I absolutely love this character, this robot. We're looking in here because I do want to show you how the inside is here, which is very reminiscent of a vintage figure. It's got the little window design. It doesn't actually have a window, it's just right in. You can actually grab what's in there. And you'll see obviously the figures are not in there. I do have them already out. It also does come with a full color booklet here. If we look on the inside, I can't read Japanese. It would be awesome to be able to read it. And it would take a long time to do a Google Translate on this, but it shows some illustrations, some anime art there, some cool box art it looks like, and just various illustrations throughout. And then obviously a little part set here and the instructions on how to get them together, so just in case you were wondering. And here is the whole set out of the box, and obviously the first one we want to concentrate on is Atlas, since he's right here in the center. And Atlas is actually nice and hefty, as you would expect from the Soul of Chogokin. Because he does fold up, I figured he might be very lightweight, but he does have a nice feel to it. However, most of the metal is not where it should be. Like, for example, the legs here, it's more in the thighs and the whole upper area here. You'll see it stands very stable this way, but as soon as it starts moving back, the ankles just will not hold the weight. So just be very careful when you stand them. And the articulation is pretty good. We have the head here in a ball joint, looks around wherever you want it to. Shoulders, nice and clicky this way. And we have some nice clicky ratchets on the shoulders because these do become the arms of actual Daltanius. We have bicep swivels here, which are nice and tight. We also have the elbow. Then we have the hand here that swivels. It doesn't have a ball joint. You do get this little movement here because that acts as the elbow for Daltanius. And the hands actually open up. There's no waist because of the way this folds up. We do have little joints here on the hips. You can see they're metal. They don't come out too far forward. They are a little bit limited. Then we got the knees here that are double jointed. We got the first joint there, and then we got the second one in the back. And they're very tight, so we're not really going to mess with those. Then we got the ankles here, and you'll see the ankle joints are made out of die-cast metal. Then we want to check out the little Delfighter that comes off the back of his head. This does have a slight transformation. We bring these little blue bars to the back this way, spin the wings, just like so, and then open up the rest of the wings here. And there you have the little Delfighter. We'll just get up close just so you can see the little details. I don't know if there's supposed to be a little pilot in there. There's probably just a little screw that goes right through. You'll see it's nicely detailed and painted, no sloppy work. And back here you can see the little booster section. Then he's got these little blades here with handles, which I believe are called the slicers, and you can just attach them by opening his hand, putting it right in, closing the fist. And you can also convert these blades into the boomerang cutter just by using this little spare piece and attaching the blades and then popping it right into his hand. Now, for those of you that have the vintage bot, you might remember there was a weapon, it was like a ring with spikes that would go right over his fist. They didn't do it that way. What they did is they put these little gray pellets which you have to pop off. You got to do all four of them all around the arm and then all the ones on this side. And then attach the spikes on those same exact points. And I'm only going to do one arm because, yeah, I'm not mentally insane. I know there's a lot of diehard fans out there that love perfect transformation. You can have perfect transformation, at least with this bot, if you choose not to use these little panels that are back here. They're a little hard to take off. There you go. So you have to live with this being open if you want it to be perfect transformation and have no part swapping. But I like my bots to look awesome, so I just leave that in. And just in case you were wondering about scaling, here he is with a G2 side swipe. And next we have Beralios. As you can see, he's a very excellent looking lion robot. And being a Voltron Go Lion lover myself, it was just natural that I was going to end up enjoying this guy. The figure feels nice. I'm going to show you some of the clicky ratchets it has. It has a nice amount of heft. It does have some diecast in it. For comparison, we're going to put in here a Matchbox Yellow Lion from the Voltron Force. I would have done a comparison with the vintage Beralios, but I don't have that here. Beralios sports a very nice paint job right on his mane. It's like a metallic kind of goldish bronze brown, and then you'll see the color here has a little bit more of a darker brown tinge to it. It's got some nice painted red eyes with a black border, little nose there, silver mouth. Speaking of the mouth, we do have a movable jaw and very sharp teeth, and inside you'll find a nice little red tongue. Move around, and his mostly yellow body, you'll see it's nice and glossy. Most of what you see back here is plastic. Even the legs are plastic. But as far as the front of the chest here, this little plate here, this around here, this is metal. And if we move down to the claws here, you'll see the claws are also die-cast metal, as evident by their color. And speaking of clickiness, we'll start off with the claws. We got ratchets right here in the claws themselves, which is a very nice touch. And also a ball joint on top of that. So it's actually the ball joint that's on the clicky. Alright, and then the little paw is right on that ball joint. We have the little elbows here, which are also ratcheted. Then up here is not ratcheted. This is held down there by a metal ball joint, it looks like. And we move down to the back. This would be the legs for Daltanius, so it's got a pretty strong ratchet there. Also metal joints right in the hip. It's got this movement here. We've also got these ratchets here, which are also very strong. Now if we take a look at the tail, it does fold in two spots right here, so you can move it around wherever you want. As far as weapons, Beralios got the short end of the stick. All he has is this right here, which looks like a robotic chicken head. And to use that, you just pop it on the back right here. Now the vintage one, this weapon was chrome and it would fold into the back, but on the Soul of Chogokin, you unfortunately have to just tab it in. Now last but not least, we have Gunper, or Gumper if you had the Godaiken one. This is almost identical to the vintage one in many ways. In the way it separates, the way these things come out, the way this pops out, except the vintage one did have a button where this section would just pop right out. This one does not. You have to actually pull it out by hand. And the same thing with the wings back here. The vintage one would pop out. They would just come out with the press of a button. This one you have to take out yourself. Then it also had these arms back here, which you want to pop out and make sure that this clears in the front. You don't want to angle them this way because and up because it's not going to come out. You kind of want to just help it all along this way. You'll see it's got a nice die-cast metal arm. It's nice and chromy. And if we look back here, it's got these things covered, but I'll show you what we can do with those. And the detail in the cockpit is actually really amazing. You got little two seats there with the little control consoles right around them. And the original had claws that you could attach. This one, you have to actually pull them out. Just dig your nail to take these little fingers out. So that's cool that the little claws are built into this one. As far as finish, we do have metallic blue, which tends to worry me. I know old metallic blue plastic on the older, die-cast robots always was brittle. So hopefully the technology is a lot better now. But the paint apps are very nice. This section here, the yellow, and this section here, the red, is die-cast metal, giving it a nice heft. Now going back to the back here, you'll see these little panel areas with the little Black Widow kind of logos. You just pull this down. If this other part doesn't come down, just help it along. This is where the actual robot would sit to hold it. But you'll see there's a hole right in there. And it's kind of hard to see way deep in there, but there's a circle where this thing would go in. And the whole idea is that you can pop the fists in there and then close this up right here. Now if you look at the bottom of Gumper, there's no wheels or anything for him to roll on. He is just a regular flying ship. But you'll see these little kind of handle looking things on ball joints, and they pop right off, but you got to install them in these little holes here. Then you want to grab Atlas here. He's got these little black prongs which you want to pop right into these little holes here. And once he's attached back there, just clip his little hands into these handles and boom, you've got the world's heaviest glider ever. Does look kind of cool though. Now overall, Gumper is a nice solid piece. The only thing I would probably change is maybe if they could have just had these things just swivel out and already be like on a ball joint. I don't know how I feel about leaving these on because look at it, they're not really even held down that great. They can fall out easily, and it's the bottom of the foot. So if you're going to be displaying this, moving it around, you might want to just put these in a little baggie and away in the box. Now some of you may have seen the transformation sequence I did for Daltanius over on Collection DX. If not, there is either a link somewhere floating in this little screen here, or you can find it in the description below. which shows me just putting it together in the way you guys like to do it. But I'm going to actually not do it that way for this guy because it's a little complex, but I want you to see how this guy actually works and fits together. So first thing I want to do is separate this little chest here, bring up this little cross, and dropping the Delfighter is optional. Now these shoulders are very tight on mine, so I've only transformed it like once before. Pushing the arms. Oh, and I almost forgot these little gold pieces here. These are the hand slicers, which you want to remove. As you're folding it around, you'll see this little circle here, this little U has to mate with this little hip joint right in there. Now Atlas pretty much combines with Beralios and the rest pretty much the same way the vintage one does. If you look, when I put my finger behind here, you'll see that little slot right there. That's going to align with these little tabs that are right here when you put them in. So just be careful nothing is rubbing around or scraping anything, and you'll be alright. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to insert this guy right in here and try to do all the alignment I was talking about. Once you've got those little two tabs aligned in that slot, you can go ahead and bring this little red backpack and snap it in. Alright, so there we have Daltanius. Something looks a little strange, doesn't it? Kind of looks like a Daltanius slash T-Rex with his little tiny hands. He's got the little teeny head and the little arms, which is why you have to attach these bad boys right here with these big rocket punch fists. I'm going to go ahead and get that right in there, and then also get this one right in there. And yet somehow he still looks a little off. Maybe the shoulders are a little bit too small, which is why you get these bad boys right here. And those are easy to install. You get this little round part that goes on the bottom. Snap that in, get the other side also. And yeah, much better. Alright, but something still looks off. Oh, maybe it's the little fins right here, right? There we go. Looks much better. Something's still a little off. And that's the reason why they include this bigger head. So that's what it was, guys. It needs a bigger head. This head doesn't have the functionality of pulling the Delfighter out, but it does have a more accurate size. We'll put it on here. That's what he looks like. Well, maybe not that big, but we'll pop it off and stop using silly perspective here and pop his head on. And there you are, guys. Alright, so why don't we check him out. Again, very heavy altogether, a lot of die cast. There's also a lot of plastic. And I swear I remember some people complaining about how light he was. Believe me, he's not light. Especially if you're used to handling other figures like Transformers, he is definitely one heavy son of a bitch. On top of it, he just looks awesome. He's got a freaking giant lion head on his chest. I know it's a little silly with all these colors going on all over the place, but this is pretty much what to expect from super robots back in the 80s. Alright, so we're going to check out the articulation here. We got the head on the ball joint, same as regular Atlas. We have the shoulders that do go out. They are now somewhat limited right there because of these covers, but they still have the same kind of rotation this way. Now the elbows, as I showed you on the Atlas, the wrists would move in a weird fashion. That's because they are now the elbows for Daltanius. You still retain bicep swivel. And we don't have a waist, but we do have hips here. We have Beralios' hips and joints. Nice ratchets. We also have the knee joints, the same as Beralios. One thing, I don't know if these silver bits are touching that little round spot on the inside, but I don't know if doing this forever will get rid of that paint, so just be careful in case you're worried about that. And we also have this swivel here. We move down to the feet. I did show you the little ankle. You can have it straight like vintage or have this curved out like that just to give it a nice stance. Now the hands are on a ball joint, which allows you to pop them off and switch them for different ones. We have this little or big open hand. We also have these weapon holding hands. One is smaller opening than the other. I just wanted to show you the gyro spinner. We have to take this off, pull out this ring, and then attach the gyro spinner, which is just a bunch of blades around his forearm there, and just reattach it and pop in a fist. Now you do get two of those, but again I'm only going to show you the one side just so you can see what it looks like. You also get the trans saber, which we're going to put right into this hand here, and also the trans shield. You just have to attach the little handle and pop that into his hand. He's also got this weapon here, which is called a Lysander. It's basically just a bow and arrow. You get the arrow right here. The arrow is nice and shiny because it is chrome plated, and we will remove this little back piece to give the effect of him shooting it with this bow. And this handle if you'll see, when we move it, the little yellow piece here does move as if it's being pulled back. Then all you do is feed the handle through the big hand, attach it to the weapon, and this little bar that comes out, attach it to the other hand, and this is what you end up with. And of course we do get this beautiful flame sword. Look at that, translucent orange plastic, some nice gold detailing right here, some nice silver, and red. And the beautiful thing is that he can actually hold this with two hands. So we're going to check that out. We're going to pop this off, feed it through one of the hands, then feed it through the other. Now to set up his arms for this, you actually got to sort of pop them out of the shoulder socket. You'll see it's got a hinge up here. I want to lift them up this way and just get it ready. It might be a little difficult. I didn't test it out beforehand. We're going to pop that one on here and pop this one here. It's a little hard to pop these fists in. And then just attach the flame sword. Now the figure is truly tall with the sword, so I can't exactly fit it in my little area here, but this at least gives you an idea that it can't actually hold the sword with both hands. Now the very last thing I want to show you guys is this here. Check it out. This is called the Sigma Beam. It's just a little piece of plastic. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a little white cross. It's barely visible inside this bigger cross. And it looks like it's just airbrushed on. I don't know, but it's got this little clear piece and a little base here you can attach, and you just stand it right in front of him to recreate, I guess, an anime scene. I just want to do a little scale comparison here with an MP10 Optimus Prime, and that's going to be pretty much it, guys. I hope at the end of editing this is not a half-hour long video. Of course, this is a re-review of a review I already did, so you want to check that out, you can click the link in the descriptions below to Collection DX to check that out. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. If you're enjoying the videos, please, guys, support the channel so I can keep bringing you more. Until next time, bye-bye.